Opinion is like a pendulum and obeys the same law. If it goes past the center of gravity on one side, it must go a like distance on the other, and it is only after a certain time that it finds the true point at which it can remain at rest. Journalists are like dogs. Whenever anything moves they begin to bark. The fundament upon which all our knowledge and learning rests is the inexplicable. Patriotism, when it wants to make itself felt in the domain of learning, is a dirty fellow who should be thrown out of doors. The brain may be regarded as a kind of parasite of the organism, a pensioner, as it were, who dwells with the body. We can come to look upon the deaths of our enemies with as much regret as we feel for those of our friends, namely, when we miss their existence as witnesses to our success. If we were not all so interested in ourselves, life would be so uninteresting that none of us would be able to endure it. In action a great heart is the chief qualification. In work, a great head. As the biggest library, if it is in disorder, is not as useful as a small but well-arranged one, so you may accumulate a vast amount of knowledge, but it will be of far less value than a much smaller amount if you have not thought it over for yourself.
The word of man is the most durable of all material. There is no absurdity so palpable but that it may be firmly planted in the human head if you only begin to inculcate it before the age of 5, by constantly repeating it with an air of great solemnity. The man never feels the want of what it never occurs to him to ask for. National character is only another name for the particular form which the littleness, perversity, and baseness of mankind take in every country. Every nation mocks at other nations, and all are right. Every nation ridicules other nations, and all are right. Newspapers are the second hand of history. This hand, however, is usually not only of inferior metal to the other hands, it also seldom works properly.
All truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. Third, it is accepted as being self-evident. To live alone is the fate of all great souls. Talent hits a target no one else can hit, genius hits a target no one else can see. A man can be himself only so long as he is alone, and if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom, for it is only when he is alone that he is really free. The doctor sees all the weakness of mankind, the lawyer all the wickedness, the theologian all the stupidity. Each day is a little life, every waking and rising a little birth, every fresh morning a little youth, every going to rest and sleep a little death. They tell us that suicide is the greatest piece of cowardice, that suicide is wrong, when it is quite obvious that there is nothing in the world to which every man has a more unassailable title than to his own life and person. The greatest of follies is to sacrifice health for any other kind of happiness. A man can do what he wants, but not want what he wants. Money is human happiness in the abstract. He, then, who is no longer capable of enjoying human happiness in the concrete devotes himself utterly to money. Men are by nature merely indifferent to one another, but women are by nature enemies. A man's delight in looking forward to and hoping for some particular satisfaction is a part of the pleasure flowing out of it, enjoyed in advance. But this is afterward deducted, for the more we look forward to anything the less we enjoy it when it comes. I've never known any trouble than an hour's reading didn't assuage. Great minds are related to the brief span of time during which they live as great buildings are to a little square in which they stand. You cannot see them in all their magnitude because you are standing too close to them. Every person takes the limits of their own field of vision for the limits of the world. Every person takes the limits of their own field of vision for the limits of the world. Honor means that a man is not exceptional, fame, that he is. Fame is something which must be won, honor, only something which must not be lost. Wicked thoughts and worthless efforts gradually set their mark on the face, especially the eyes. A man's face as a rule says more, and more interesting things, than his mouth, for it is a compendium of everything his mouth will ever say, in that it is the monogram of all this man's thoughts and aspirations. Politeness is to human nature what warmth is to wax.